Welcome back, folks, to the Lighted online video show brought to you by Keystone Technologies. Go to KEYSTONETECH.com. The Retrofit Kings, they got all the LED stuff you need. So go to KeystoneTech.com. What's up, Gregosaurus?
How you doing? It's been a while, a couple hours
Woo!
or so.
Yeah.
Back at it. Hey, we're talking today. We've done these quick little hits on different fixture types, and I thought today would be a good one. Would be on floods or, yeah, outdoor floods, exterior floods, we'll call them, and that can range, as we know, right? So let's
Yeah.
bust it down. Now, when you've got a flood, it can first you got to know what it's lighting. It can light a side of a building. It can light a parking lot. It can light
Like a
a
contractor's
flag,
yard,
a sign.
contractor's yard,
Yes.
a waste dump, a prison yard. And all of those applications are unique and different.
Every single one of them is, and that's what's fun about floods. So it's a real general term, but it gets unique depending on the application, and each specific thing you have to look at is something to consider for them.
Have you ever
So
heard of this song? I don't know who sings it. Blinded by the light.
Manfred Mann,
Is that what
Manfred
it
Mann.
is? I knew you would knew
Yeah,
that. Know that who that is.
yeah.
Right?
So
So this is something that all you lighting dorks out there that listen to this, you got to be wary of. I'm going to put it up on my Instagram. There's this guy, he's got a yard on my drive home. And ever since they pulled back the clocks, I drive by his nasty, disgusting 150-watt LED flood that he mounted almost vertically to shine into his yard. And when you drive by it, it's like, boom, you get hit with this nasty glare bomb, dude. And it's so
it does.
gross.
Yeah, and that's what the deal is with a lot of floods. You need to be able to direct it, and I think that's one key thing is being able to do that anytime you have a flood, so that it lights areas it does need to light and not areas it doesn't need to, like your face when you're driving. Let's avoid that if we can.
Remember, folks, when a cop rolls up beside you, what does he do with his flashlight when he comes up to your window at night? He shines it right in your eyes. Why does he do that? So that he has the glare advantage over you. He can see way more than you can. So where the light is directed is essential to how well someone can see. So if you don't want people to see, like a prison yard, you shine the lights on an angle down towards them if you don't want them to get out. If you want people to be able to get out of a parking lot safely, then you want to make sure their pupils are not dilating into these tiny little black spots just as they're about to turn and right onto a dark road.
Exactly. So when you're looking at exterior floods, first things first is, do they actually need it to be a flood? All right. So we determine that. Do they need it to be? Now we're going to say in general,
Like,
they
how often
need
do
to
you
be
need a
in this
flood?
case.
How often do you need it to be a flood? I would say prison yard,
Yeah.
security application,
Yeah.
where you want
Maybe
one-way
lighting up.
sight lines. You want the sight line from one direction to be crystal clear, and the sight line from the other direction to be blurred by the light.
Maybe lighting up a sign. I could see that,
Yeah.
ground
Okay.
mounted, lighting up a sign. That makes
Sure.
sense there. But there are a lot of applications you don't. And a lot of people just assume you need a flood when you don't always. You can do a directed area light type, like a shoebox or something that can do as good a job or better,
Cut off wall
especially on
pack.
poles. Yeah, wall
Oh
pack
yeah,
and all
yeah,
that
on a
stuff. So,
pole. Like, have you ever seen like these when they renovate these poles? Let's say before there was a shoebox or two shoeboxes or three shoeboxes or whatever, and they smash a bullhorn on it and mount the LED floods like it's a baseball
oh, yeah,
field.
all the time.
Not
Real
necessary,
common,
man. Come on, man. The
right?
birds, man. What about the birds? I know you don't care
They
about the
don't need to
birds.
see.
You tell the birds to fly over a little bit further east or whatever, but I care about the birds. Come on, man. This is crazy. These LEDs are so much more piercing. The glare there's no reflection. So these fixtures they put up with the diodes pointed out, it's so glary, dude. It's dangerous.
Yep. So that's one issue is whether it actually needs to be a flood. But we're going to assume that it needs to be a flood. And
Okay.
what do you do if you need to replace it to LED? So first of all, you need to figure out what condition the fixture's in. Is it
hmm
is it rusted out? Is it good? What color is it? That's
Yeah,
always
but
common. We talked in exterior lighting.
bronze. Yeah. Everything.
White,
You can have any
gray,
color you
whatever.
want in this industry as long as it's bronze.
That's right. So make sure you note that. You want to know what wattage is in there now, as with any light fixture that you're trying to replace. You got to figure that out.
How does your metric work for
Floods.
that? I want to get you on that one. So you gotta,
Okay,
let's say
go.
you have like one of those, you see them a lot in small baseball fields and that. It's kind of like a box, and it has a rounded reflector in the back, and it's got a little hood on the front, and you got a 250 watt metal halide or a 400 watt ED17 shade, or whatever the base, we know a small jacket metal halide in it. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, like the tubular one, the skinny.
Yeah,
Yeah,
whatever,
no,
the smaller metal halide one. I can't remember what the jacket name is, but anyway.
oh,
Let,
the downsized ED17.
yeah,
Right.
the ED17. So you got
Like
one of those
28.
bad boys in there, and it's 400 watt, and they just say, I just want to replace it with LED. What wattage reduction are you taking on that?
In general, for a 400.
Not general. I'm talking about those floodlights.
What would you replace if it's a 400 right
Yeah,
now?
like I think the floodlights, like LEDs really set up well for floodlights. I think it's the most efficient replacement in terms of light output. I think that metal halide with those reflectors and HPS with those reflectors does a better job, not lumen wise, but just in terms of spreading the light further. But in a flood style fixture, I think LED is really plays itself well for that kind of work. What wattage reduction would you go 25%, 100 watt? Would you make it 70 watt LED for a 400?
I think general rule of thumb, I'm always about, I start at about 150 and then determine if I can go less. I mean, 150 watts being 18,000 lumens, somewhere in that range, 1820.
Lumens are not really the right number here.
Yeah,
No,
I could see it.
I'm not really a lumens guy when it comes to, that sort of stuff. It's because the different fixtures have different coefficients of utilization, and that one kind of flood really traps a lot of the light inside of it. And it's not very efficient at sending the metal halide or HPS light out of it. And so I feel like you can get away with sometimes 1/8 the wattage on a flood application. Yeah.
Yeah, no, I think I agree. I always want to start high and kind of see whether it's a layout you do or from experience at other facilities, that kind of thing.
That sort of thing. But
Then you go up.
I figure that the less experienced the lighting guy is, the more likely he is to overwatt the LED on the back end, to give someone more light
That's
than
true.
they need.
That's true.
And there's problems with more light. Like sometimes you don't want more light. That's a waste too. That's a waste of LED light. So, and the fixture's more expensive and blah, blah, blah. So I feel like, if you know what that wattage is in that flood, that flood projection flood is really something that sets up perfectly for LED technology. So I don't think you need to go, 150 on that. I take it down to a 80 watt or 70 watt. These are all sorts of different wattages, right?
Yeah, depending on the application, I agree that it can make sense to reduce it that much in a flood. You also need to figure out how it's mounted. Is it on a slip fitter? Is it on a knuckle? Is it on a arm? Is it, they can mount all variety, a trunnion mount or yoke mount.
Yeah, sure. Do you change the mount sometimes?
Sometimes, yeah, when you order it wrong. But
No, but sometimes I look at the way the pole is, and I think, that mount where the light fixture kind of comes with a little, I don't know what that kind of bracket's called, and it screws right to the side of the pole instead of slip fitting over, and you got the bolts coming out the back. I like that mounting style.
like a 90-degree arm or whatever.
It's not an arm. We should have got it ready for this show. I should prepare once in a while, and I would have showed it to you. But I like that mounting to taking off a bullhorn and putting one of those on or whatever.
Sure. Yeah. No, I have changed it from times, especially on like a bullhorn situation or things where you mount it on the side of the pole versus on top of the pole. We have done that.
Yeah.
The other thing with floods and slip fitters is they can range in size too, and it's difficult to always know. Sometimes the pole, you have to measure the diameter of the pole to figure out what it is.
Sure.
But sometimes the poles are tapered, and then it's different size at the top, and then they're bigger at top. So know the mounting as best you can if you're going to replace the flood. We talk voltage. You always need to know that 480 volt or it's a 120 277. How the lamp is mounted in the fixture. I would say in general with a floodlight on exterior, I'm going to do a new fixture. And is that where are you at on that?
Yeah, I mean the cost of the fixtures has come down so much in the last 2 years that when I looked at retrofits in 2015 for this type of stuff, though the cost of those retrofits is now more than the cost of a new fixture. And the risk associated with trying to get the retrofit kit in there and and the you got to know your retrofit kits because, and then the cost if there's like a broken seal or there's you're just setting up future liabilities for yourself sometimes with the outdoor and the floods and the seals and the condition and all that stuff, whether it fits or not, whether the light comes out of it properly.
Yeah, I think fit is always a big concern, and when you're trying to retrofit exterior fixtures, especially because they produce a lot of light out of a little light bulb. Often, even the downsized one you mentioned, you can't fit a lot of what the LED equivalents are, or close to what the LED equivalents are, without significantly reducing it. So you do need to factor that in. Also,
You know
as
where
with any lighting,
retrofit, but just to jump on top of that, you know where retrofit really plays well is on a post top light. Corn cob
yeah,
in
for
there.
sure.
Like a globe
Yeah,
top or one of those ones like that. It really works well there. Where
like
the
a decorative.
socket, yeah, where the socket is vertical and the bulb screws into the top, and you put that globe back on top. That's a retrofitter's dream. But those floods,
Always, yeah.
it's tough.
Yeah, with floods, I usually would go new, and then you also need to know the mounting height. Are they accessible? Are they in the right location? Everything else that would go with it. But floods are a broad range, a lot of different options, and know what you're lighting. Because if you're lighting a flag versus a sign that's 20 feet wide, that's a different fixture. Even though they both might look the same, you need to put
That's
a
where you got to
spot
get into the
between.
optics, man.
Yes.
And you got
Yep.
to look at the optics. It doesn't take rocket surgery to do it. You know what? The other thing too is that a lot of manufacturers will provide you the work. Will do that work for you.
hmm Yeah, for sure. It's always important to run layouts whenever you can, and the manufacturer should, at least the quality one, should do that for you, and make it a lot easier for you to present your project and your proposal
Mm.
and to prove it to the customer. And then the last thing is just how is it controlled? A floodlight can be controlled often out of a photocell or a timer or potentially a switch, but most often one of those two. So you need to factor that in as well, and whether it has its own photocell built on or it's separate from it, because
What do you like
floods are
photocell
difficult.
wise? What do you like photocell wise? You like on board on the fixture?
No, central photocell that controls multiple, because then
So
when one burns
do you
out.
literally order the fixtures without the photocell? Because I find a lot of them
It,
come now just automatically with the photocell on it.
well, that's what I was going to say about floods. Not the case.
Yeah,
Floods
you're
usually
right.
don't have a photocell, and they're hard to
You're
find,
right.
hard to actually get them with it on there.
Mm.
So, but a lot of the wall packs and things do, and I like that, because then you don't have to think as much, and you
Yeah,
can
it's
just
true.
bypass the photocell that it comes with it. But
That's
as
true.
long as it's a universal photocell, don't screw with the line voltage 120 or 277. Make it universal, and then um, so I would do that, and then yeah, with the photocells, make sure you note that too, because it is difficult to find a flood with a photocell, as we said. So
Mm. Cool.
I think that's, yeah.
Is
Anything
that a
else you
hot
got on
blast?
floodlights?
Hot
That's a
blast.
hot blast.
That's a hot
Got to blast
blast.
it out.
So that's Greg and I sharing all of our trade secrets with all you on the Light Ted Online Video Show. It's brought to you by Keystone Technologies. Call up Josh Brown. Put out his cell phone number, Greg.
If I had it memorized, I would.
Go to KeystoneTech.com. That's KeystoneTech.com. And I can say this legit, our friends at Keystone Technologies. Light made easy. This has been the Light Ted Online Video Show. We're grateful to all you listeners out there. Thank you very much.